Wookie Jedi are neither the most famous nor the most common Force wielders, yet across millennia, everyone who ignited a lightsaber outperformed the vast majority of the Order. The reasons behind that edge are stranger and more deeply layered than any record admits. The gathering on Ilum follows the same ancient pattern. 6 younglings enter the crystal caves to claim their kyber crystals, each facing a trial born of their deepest flaw. Petro grapples with overconfidence, the Ithorian Biff with fear, and for the Wookiee Gungi, the cave demands patience, his species' greatest weakness. His crystal waits on the far side of a freezing lake, separated by loose, shifting ice. He cannot charge or muscle through. The only path is to wait for the water to freeze and cross before the cave seals shut. So the Wookiee child does what defies every instinct. He stops and holds still. In the silence, the ice hardens beneath him. From Yoda, each youngling receives a named virtue. For Gungi, the Old Master offers a single word: patience, not strength or bravery. The Force tested a Wookiee on what his species struggle with most, and the child passed. Brutally strong, fiercely intelligent, and quick to offense, Wookiees have been known to rip arms from sockets. Emotional intensity is their biological baseline rather than an acquired trait, and calm does not come naturally to them. Every Jedi must master their emotions, but most begin from relative stillness and spend years refining it. A Wookiee starts from a storm. Those who reach stillness arrive at something deeper than most Jedi ever build, because years of effort from a calm foundation cannot match the depth a Wookiee reaches by conquering a storm. Years later, that lesson resurfaces under circumstances no one could have foreseen. Gungi still lives, though the Clone Wars have ended and the Jedi Purge has swept the galaxy. The youngling who once stood at the frozen lake now survives alone, hunted and captured by smuggling droids, forced to run. He has spent years without the Order that raised him, yet when he fully encounters potential allies, he neither attacks nor rages. He remains cautious and distrustful, but hatred does not consume him. The patience he found on Ilum has held. The survival alone is impressive, yet a Wookiee Jedi Master named Tyvokka demonstrated something even greater. He sat on the Jedi High Council and trained Plo Koon. When a galaxy-wide Bacta shortage erupted, Tyvokka alone suspected the crisis was fabricated. He lacked proof, but his ability to intuit the future drove him to push the Council to investigate. His suspicion proved correct. The Thiferians and the Trade Federation had manufactured the shortage to inflate prices. At the Troikan Peace Summit, when the pirate Eako Stark draws weapons on the Republic delegation, Tyvokka flips the negotiation table to shield his allies. Neither a force push nor a drawn lightsaber, but a Wookiee's 330 pounds of muscle applied with a fighter's timing. During the battle that follows, Newt Gunray's droids strike him down, friendly fire from a poorly worded command. He lies dying, yet in his final moments, the Wookiee Master does not rage or grieve. Tyvokka issues 2 dying orders to his student: rally Tarkin's troops to prevent the Senate from surrendering to Stark, and take his own seat on the Council. He tells Plo he's proud of him, recites the Jedi Code, and then dies. In the aftermath, Aayla Secura asks whether mourning is wrong for a Jedi, and Mace Windu answers that Jedi feel emotions like all beings do, without allowing those feelings to rule them. Mourning honors the dead, he explains, because feeling nothing would mean they meant nothing at all. That teaching applies to every Jedi, yet for a Wookiee, the stakes are higher. A species that feels everything more intensely must master those feelings at a higher level or be destroyed by them. Yet emotional mastery alone would make Wookiee Jedi remarkable and nothing more. It rests atop a body already among the galaxy's deadliest before the Force ever entered the picture. Most Jedi use the Force to close gaps, whether a smaller Jedi relies on speed or a physically average one employs telekinesis to overcome physical limits. A Wookiee Jedi needs none of that. The Force amplifies what was already there rather than covering for what was lacking. On Kashyyyk, years after the Purge, the Padawan who survived Order 66 demonstrated exactly what that combination looks like in a fight. Gungi pulls his lightsaber from an enemy's belt using the Force and attacks a squad of armed droids in the same breath. Later, the Padawan damages an Imperial tank's cannon with his lightsaber, ambushes Commander Venomore, a Trandoshan officer wielding a flamethrower, and destroys the weapon. He fights adult soldiers and wins at an age when most Jedi have barely left the classroom. Even his weapon tells the story. When the ancient droid Huyang asks Gungi what he feels his saber should be, the youngling chooses wood over metal. Brylark wood that Huyang confirms is as strong as metal. The result is a heavier, sturdier hilt built for hands that can swing with force most Jedi could never generate. The saber is designed around the body that carries it. Beneath both of these layers, emotional mastery and physical multiplication, lies a third that makes Wookie Jedi truly unusual. Kashyyyk produces more than strong beings. It produces a culture that mirrors Jedi philosophy without ever intending to, a world of deep reverence for nature and community long before any child ever touches the Force. When the Wookiees of Yana's village prepare for battle against Imperial and Trandoshan invaders, they gather beneath the roots of a Roshar tree rather than a war room. The Bad Batch's translator explains that the Wookiees are asking the trees for help, believing the planet belongs to them and that the trees fight alongside them. The Jedi Order teaches that all living things connect through the Force, yet Wookiees already live that truth as daily life before any training or temple. The connection between Wookiees and their world runs deeper than belief. It shapes how they fight. Later, Gungi communicates with the Kinrath, dangerous arachnid predators, and convinces them that the clone troopers pose no threat, securing safe passage for his group. The Wookiees build their entire battle plan around the Kinrath nest, drawing the enemy into the creature's territory. The young Padawan conveys that the trees have a plan, and Hunter follows despite his skepticism. The Imperial forces are overwhelmed by the jungle itself. When the battle ends, Yana, the village elder, offers words that are not military, but spiritual. When a young one leaves, the trees weep, but when they return, the trees sing. Gungi arrives on Kashyyyk with no connection to Yana's village, having left the planet as a small child with only dreamt memories. The Wookiees take him in without hesitation, simply because he is one of them, offering no questions or conditions. The Jedi Order spent centuries trying to reach harmony with the Force, yet Wookiee society already practiced it. Even their smallest traditions reflect it. Wookiees keep can cells as pets because they believe seeing one brings good luck, a people whose daily life is built on reverence for the living world around them. The ancient Thoyor pyramid ships called Wookiees to the planet Tython alongside other species, where the Jedi teachings took root. Balance with nature, harmony between light and dark, community over ego. In Legends, records identify a Wookiee named Ruhr as a Jedi Temple Master, one of the highest positions in that ancient order. Wookiees were among the earliest species to practice those teachings, and their culture never drifted from those values. A Wookiee arriving at the Jedi Temple carries 3 advantages most recruits lack. Emotional intensity that, once mastered, builds a deeper foundation of discipline, combined with a body that multiplies force power rather than merely receiving it, plus cultural values already aligned with Jedi philosophy. Any one of these traits would produce a strong Jedi. Together, they produce something greater. One more layer exists, and it is the one almost no one discusses. Wookiees live extraordinarily long lives. Chewbacca is 234 years old during the Battle of Starkiller Base, according to official canon material, which still counts as young for a Wookiee. If 234 constitutes youth, then a Wookie Jedi does not have decades to grow in the Force, but centuries. A human Jedi Master might serve the Order for 40 or 50 active years, yet a Wookie Jedi could accumulate more than 200 years of training, combat, meditation, and study. Tyvokka's ability to intuit the future, to sense the fake Bacta shortage before anyone had proof, represents the kind of skill born from practicing the Force for longer than most Jedi live. Plo Koon, trained by Tyvokka, developed his own rare gift, a telepathy drawn from his Keldor bloodline that let him read enemy minds across an entire battlefield and later contact his niece at the Jedi Temple from across the galaxy. Whether inherited or trained, abilities at that level do not emerge from a few decades of study. They grow over lifetimes. Wookie Jedi are not merely long-lived, but extremely rare. Huyang, drawing on 1,000 years of Jedi records, notes that a Wookiee among the Jedi is rare and a source of pride for their people. The Force has recognized Wookiees since the founding of its oldest tradition, yet it calls very few of them, and every single one it calls proves exceptional. Not one average Wookie Jedi exists across any telling of this history. The reason runs deeper than strength or longevity. It is something the Jedi Order valued above all else and rarely achieved: stability. Jedi history overflows with brilliant Force users who fell, from Count Dooku to Anakin Skywalker, whose talent and power were never in question. The problem was that neither could hold the line when pressure mounted. The Order's greatest enemy was never the Sith, but the pull of the dark side on its own members. Wookie Jedi resist that pull in almost every unique way. Gungi survives the destruction of the Jedi Order, years of isolation and physical abuse, yet he does not turn. After the battle, while the adults around him celebrate and drink, the young Padawan sits quietly beneath a rocher tree and meditates. A child who just fought Imperial soldiers choosing stillness, a Wookie Jedi alone in a hostile galaxy choosing the light because nothing in his nature, training, or culture ever gave him a reason to abandon it. Plo Koon, shaped by Tyvokka's training, demonstrates what Wookiee taught discipline looks like over a lifetime. During the Stark Hyperspace War, he leads an army built by Ranulf Tarkin, a man who insisted on only recruiting humans. Many of the soldiers under Plo shared Tarkin's views, including Jace Dolan, who served as Tarkin's aide. They saw an alien leading them and resented it. Plo did not argue with them. He did not confront their prejudice. He was an alien among men trained to see aliens as lesser, and he answered that contempt with service. Between attacks, he tended to their wounded. During the breaks in fighting, he comforted the dying. While Qui-Gon and Adi Gallia were also present, it was the alien Jedi who stood out, because he treated soldiers who despised him with care they had never seen from their own commander. Jace, the man who once shared Tarkin's beliefs, credited Plo as the reason any of them survived, and carried that loyalty for the rest of his life. He still carries scars from Troikin on his face, and still visits Plo as his friend. That is Tyvokka's legacy, a Wookiee master who taught his student that real power lies not in what you can destroy, but in what you can hold together when everything else falls apart. Wookie Jedi are not only powerful because they're the strongest species to use the Force, they carry what rarely exists in the same being: immense physical strength paired with deep humility, intense emotion alongside hard-won self-control, fierce loyalty anchored in Jedi discipline. Most beings in the galaxy possess one or two of these traits. Wookie Jedi hold all of them at once for centuries, and they stay in the light anyway. The strength, the longevity, the cultural alignment, all of it amplifies the same thing. A species that starts from a storm and finds stillness anyway builds something no amount of training from a calm baseline can ever match. That same principle applies to every Jedi who ever lived. True Jedi were always stronger than the Sith, and the proof is in that video. Or if you want to see what another underestimated species has been hiding in plain sight, watch the dark truth behind the Jawas.